Naples real estate may finally be finding its footing. Our market has been shifting over the last few years. The number of homes for sale has climbed back to pre-pandemic levels, and for a brief period of time actually did go a little bit higher than 2019, which is what we consider to be our last normal market. On top of that, we also returned to our normal average of 90 to 100 days to go under contract. That may sound a little strange to you, but yes, our normal average is around 100 days for a property to go under contract. But now we're starting to see a tightening in the number of homes for sale. Let's talk about that for a minute. As of December 31st, there were 14,840 properties for sale in all of Southwest Florida. That's from Marco Island all the way up to Sanibel and Captiva. That number was down 3.5% from a year ago. This is significant because it marks the first year-over-year inventory decline since 2021. In Naples specifically, the number of properties for sale decreased 3.8% during December. We went from 5,938 properties for sale in December 2024 to 5,714 in December 2025. You may be thinking that that sounds like a lot of properties for sale in Naples alone. But if we go back to December of 2018, there were over 6,200 properties for sale. And if we go back to December 2017, there were almost 5,500 properties for sale. So essentially, we're right back in line with where we were pre-pandemic. It is also important to point out that new properties coming to market for sale were down 15% market-wide in December. I know what you're thinking though, because even I was thinking it. It was the holidays. Who's going to put their home on the market during the holiday season? But this wasn't a one-off. 7 of the previous 8 months also saw declines in new properties coming to market for sale. So on an annual basis, new listings coming to market for sale were basically flat, up only 0.6%. So what does this tell us? Sellers are no longer flooding the market. They are waiting for the right conditions. And the reality is that many of our homeowners have the luxury to do just that. It's important to remember that Naples is not a typical market. Homeowners here don't necessarily have to sell. In many cases, they own the property outright because they paid cash. And unless something drastic has happened in their lives, they don't have to sell. They can wait until the market is more in their favor. Mike Simonson from Altos Research pointed out something very interesting about Florida recently. He said the data shows that inventory in Florida has topped off. It is not growing. It's not that there aren't plenty of homes for sale around the state. There are. So there's no upward pressure on prices, and there's ample selection for buyers. More inventory means that more sales can happen. For those buyers that are sitting on the sidelines, waiting for prices to go lower or crash, or for some big panic, Simonson says that they may not realize that sales in Florida are up 10% over last year. If buyers are trying to time the market, they may not realize that the market is shifting now. For the first time in quite some time, inventory is in decline. And yes, here in Naples, we are seeing an increase in sales. In Naples alone, closed sales in December 2025 were up nearly 29% compared to December of 2024, from 600 in 2024 to 773 in 2025. And this wasn't just a one-month spike. That positive trend actually started back in June and continued for the second half of the year. Closed sales in Naples have improved for 7 months consistently. So what is driving home sales in Naples and Florida in general? Our sales activity is up year over year, mostly because we have a good number of homes for sale, giving buyers choices. It's different in other parts of the country, like say Chicago or New York, for example, where sales activity is not that great because inventory is still so tight. We also have buyers out there who are bargain hunting once again. Reason being is that those buyers are zeroing in on homes that have been on the market for quite some time. Maybe they've dropped their price, and buyers see an opportunity now to make a deal. And then there's also the fact that Florida had no hurricanes in 2025. Check out this map from Climate Central. Nothing in Florida. It was rather refreshing. What's interesting here in Naples and Southwest Florida is that sales are active in both single-family homes and condos. Prices in both sectors are a little softer, with single-family homes dipping about 2% and condos dipping about 2.8%. This signals to us that sellers are listening to market realities. They are more willing to negotiate, and buyers are responding. For the first time in years, we're seeing balance return to our market. If any of this so far is making you think it's time for you to buy here or sell and relocate, please reach out to me. My information is here on the screen or down in the description below. You may also want to check out my book, Moving to Naples, The Untourist Guide, which is now in its 5th edition. It may give you some guidance on making a life here, whether full-time or part-time. Okay, now let's talk about some of the bigger trends that are impacting real estate here locally and nationally. We do have a divided economy, and that trend will likely continue through 2026. We see this with sales at the luxury level, which are holding up better than sales around the median of the market. Here in Naples, for instance, sales of properties priced $1.5 million and up continue to outpace sales in other price segments. Sales of properties over $5 million increased 16.6% in Naples during 2025. When we look at the other side of the price spectrum, for years we've been seeing properties priced under $300,000 all but disappear in and around Naples. But condos for sale priced under $300,000 have been on the rise as prices have adjusted. In fact, according to our multiple listing service, the number of condos for sale priced $300,000 and under increased 47.5% in December. This increase led to a 28.4% increase in closed sales in condos in this price point in December. Experts, like Simonson from Altos Research, are saying that affordability is slowly returning. Because home prices are now relatively flat, incomes are now rising faster than home prices. This will take multiple years, but it is a definite improving trend. Yes, home prices are significantly less affordable than they've been for the median income. But Simonson says that rather than a crash scenario, we'll likely see multiple years of flat home price changes while incomes grow faster. However, as one person pointed out, and this is a valid point, even though incomes may be rising faster relative to home prices, living expenses, insurance, food, utilities are all going up too. One thing that does have some people on edge are the number of foreclosures. The headlines continue to harp on foreclosures and how they are increasing nationwide. As Keeping Current Matters pointed out, yes, foreclosure filings are up 32% year over year. But take a look at this graph to see where we were during the last crash compared to where we are at now. And if you look at this next graph, you'll see how we're starting to fall back to what's typical for the market. Rob Barber, CEO at Adam, explained this, and I quote, "Foreclosure activity increased in 2025, reflecting a continued normalization of the housing market following several years of historically low levels. Today's uptick is being driven more by market recalibration rather than widespread homeowner distress. No matter what the headlines may have you believing, this isn't a large-scale crisis." That's just some of the broader trends that I wanted to touch on. Now let's look at the last 12 months in Naples real estate. You'll see from these graphs that in January 2025, we started with around 6,800 properties for sale, and we ended the year with around 5,700 properties for sale. Pending sales activity, which are those properties that go under contract, remained fairly steady throughout the year, as did closed sales activity. What these graphs don't show you is the average days on market to go under contract. For single-family homes, we ended 2024 with an average of 78 days, and we ended 2025 with an average of 87 days. And for condos, we ended 2024 with 90 days, and we ended 2025 with 100 days. Months of supply overall in the Naples market ticked down just a tad, from 8.9 months at the end of 2024 to 8.3 months at the end of 2025. In case you need a refresher on this metric, months of inventory just means that if nothing else new came to market for sale, it would take 8.3 months to sell off all of the existing properties currently on the market. Here in Naples, we consider anything between 6 and 12 months to be a balanced market. Inventory less than 6 months is considered a seller's market, and inventory over 12 months is considered a buyer's market. We are in a market where pricing, condition, and strategy actually matter. The bottom line is that if you're thinking about selling, now might be a good window to list your property, especially if it's priced correctly and it shows well. Even though we're seeing increased sales activity, buyers are not desperate. They do have options, and overpriced listings are still sitting. If you're thinking about buying, keep in mind that new listings are more limited. When the right home hits the market, it may not last long. Be sure you are prepared to make an offer. Partner with a trusted local realtor. And if you are financing this purchase, make sure you have your mortgage pre-approval letter ready to go. If you want help understanding how these trends apply to your situation, whether you're buying, selling, or just watching, I'm always happy to help you make sense of it. I'm Alicia Shivers. Thank you for joining me. Until next time.